What up, everybody? Hey, welcome to another Moving the Military podcast. I'm not going to waste your time with introductions as you already know who we are, but hey, I get to be here with Dina Watson every single week as we do these podcasts. And Dina, did you know that let's just say 46 to 48%, 50% for math, 50% of the agents in this industry are in some type of transition every single year?
Actually, I did know that because it was we were in a group and we were watching some comments, and somebody in the comment threw out the stat that 48% of agents right now are thinking about leaving their brokerage. And I went down a bunny trail to figure it out, and they're not wrong. There is a stat floating around out there that 48% currently, as we record this, the end of May 2026, 48% of real estate agents are considering leaving their brokerage, and that is a staggering statistic.
It is absolutely staggering, so staggering that I went down the rabbit hole. And I started looking, and man, I was into every single article I could find in Housing Wire and Inman and all those different things. And here's what I found out. It's like 46 to 48%, depending year over year, is in flux every single year. And what it is, it's 15% are new agents that enter the industry, right? 15% are agents that have had enough and have retired out or said, this is not for me, this is an actual job, and have left the industry. And then there's 16 to 18%, depending on the year, that are agents that are producing, majority of them between 1 and 5 million a year in volume, that are moving or switching brokerages. So there's a 46 to 50%, depending on plus or minus, transition every single year.
How many did you say? What percentage? 16% or
16%. 16%, yeah. 16% is somewhere between $1 and $5 million in volume that's moving. And I think the stat is even better than this. And so this came out of Housing Wire, I think it was in March. And it said that the industry, the top brands, recruited $276 billion, but lost $233 billion in sales volume. So they recruited over $276 billion to the brokerages swapping, right? But and they lost two.
It gave an error on my calculator. I was trying to figure out the number of so let's put an intro into this. What are we going to talk to the people about today on the podcast? And then we'll get into the weeds.
I think it's that this industry is in flux. And the reason that the industry is in flux, not just the new agents coming in because they see that this industry can actually create freedom, or they're looking for freedom in their life. 15% have realized it's not for them. But the 16% that are in flux and the 15% that are entering, they're looking for something different. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're looking for something different.
So where do we want to start in this? Like the agents that are currently at a brokerage succeeding?
Yeah, I think it's for the leaders that are watching this and understanding that there's agents in their brokerages that are looking for something different. Statistically, it shows that agents are no longer looking for the one-size-fits-all box of real estate.
Yeah, so before we get into that, my calculator keeps throwing an error, but just doing math, which was never my strong suit, so this might be wrong. That's 200. So I don't know how many agents are in NAR right now because that changes every week, every month, whatever. But assuming the number that I last saw is pretty accurate, that's 208,000 people just at the 16% number. So there are
230,000. Yeah. Housing Wire put it out there in 2025, 230,000 changed brokerages representing $590 billion.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and what's crazy about it is when they did the stats, and this is where I want to, those are numbers. What I want to talk about is why. What's causing them to leave? And it came down to a couple different things, right? Number one, if you look at the younger agents, right? The younger agents in the industry, they're looking for something different, right? Young agents that are entering or young agents that are figuring themselves out in the industry that are moving, right, that aren't seasoned, that aren't as loyal. They're not loyal to a brand because they're not looking for the one-size-fits-all. They're looking for a different evolution, a different career path, one that grows with them as they grow in the industry. So you have younger agents that are more more eager to move based on culture, based on, coaching and mentorship training, but more importantly, one size fits all doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah, let's go one of these groups at a time. So let's stick with, and this is just for my organizational brain, but like let's stick with the younger agents, meaning younger in age, not in the industry.
Yes.
So if we're talking about age young, not time and industry young. So in most states, you can get your real estate license at 18. And for a long time, that was not something people did. Like I would say the average entry for a younger person was somewhere around 21 on the way out of college. That was me. I think I was 21. And the generation that's 21 today and the generation that was 21 when I came in are very vastly different. And this is kind of going on a tangent for a second, but I was the last, and I know, Matt, you're a Gen Xer, I'm an elder millennial. So the elder millennial generation is the last generation that has had a foothold in both worlds. We've got the Gen X and the boomer world, they raised us, but then we also truly understand AI and technology, and the internet was happening when we were younger. So like, we see both sides of it. So we were the last generation that has the work hard, stay the course for 20 years mentality with us. And so the younger Gen Alpha people, or whoever would be 20 or 21 at this point, maybe they're Gen Y. I think Gen Alpha is my kid's age, right? Is it Gen Alpha, your grandkid, our kid's age? Anyway, so I'm saying all of this to say that what I have read recently is that the mentality of the Gen Y people, who are currently the younger agents we're discussing, is that they are very principle based. They're almost reverted back to the boomer era in the way that they believe in the things that they're looking for. So they're looking for, in any work environment, does this environment match my values? Does this environment match my values? Even to like, does this company give back to the community? Does this company get involved? They're looking to put themselves in a place, not out of, this tangent for just a second. They're no longer like impressed by people's statistics and their facade, because they know social media is a facade where even my age group and your age group is coming around. But like, we were not raised that you lie about your life on the internet, but the people right after us were. The people after them that are getting into real estate, they know that there's a veil. So
they know that this is, here's the thing. They know this is an ego-based business, and they know that what people are putting out there is their highlight reel, the tip of the iceberg. It's nothing below the water, nothing below the surface. And I think that you're pointing out something really good, and that's that the generational divide in this industry is an absolute flashing warning sign. It is the light on your car dashboard that is literally flashing, because veteran agents those that are seasoned, right? We'll call them that. We won't call them older, but those that are seasoned, the veteran agent, they prize stability and they prize community, right? The younger generation, right? The younger peers in this industry, they are searching for growth and momentum, right? And that growth and momentum has got to be aligned to their values. It's got to be aligned to their blueprint, or how they believe they need to grow in the industry. And that's why I said earlier that the one-size-fits-all box of real estate is no longer as relevant. It's still relevant, but it's no longer as relevant as it used to be, because the younger generation of agents that are coming in that will one day replace the veteran seasoned agent, they're looking for a momentum and growth, and that doesn't come from a one-size-fits-all. You've got to create a roadmap for them to where they're not looking for the next exit, because that's what's happening right now. The roadmap's not there, so they're looking for the next exit, which is why they're more eager or more enticed to move.
Well, the one thing too that I want to point out in this, and y'all, we're kind of just rambling, but it's okay because there's a lot of good nuggets in here, especially if you're a leader of a brokerage, a leader of a team. If you're anyone who's going to hire a person, even if you're a solo agent looking for an admin, like this applies.
Or even if you're a solo agent producing in your business and feel a little bit of friction of growth, like this is a conversation. Here's what people don't realize. It's cyclical. And I'll go boomer, Gen X, all the way around the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, whatever it is, right? But we went from team, me. That's what we're in the cycle of. Like you talk about, when you say we, it was the whole team. Let's hold hands. Let's fight together. And if you think about the Gen X generation, man, we were all into boxing, UFC. Why? Because it's one-to-one, individual, me against you. I'm not counting on anybody else. And then we cycled back the team. And then now we're back to me again.
But before, it was us against them, us against, big government. It was us against the man. But now, because we don't have a lot of those things and we don't have the same struggles that the boomers did, it's us against each other. And it's not, it's creating, what is it? What is the phrase? It's like hard times make strong men make weak times.
Yeah, what they say is, hard times make weak men make hard times, weak time, whatever it is. But yeah.
It's hard times make strong men make weak times make
easy times make weak men's. That's the way it is.
So the cool thing about this, though, is that if you really look at it generationally speaking, and the reason we're talking about this is because people who own brokerages and own teams are often from a different generation than the people they're hiring. And so they don't necessarily speak the same language. They don't have the same mentality. And I think it's important that we talk about, what is the mentality of the people that you're building your businesses with?
Well, I think it's important because we talk about it. There was another study I ran down a rabbit hole with. Now, it was only 600 agents that they interviewed, which is a very, very small population. But out of those 600 agents, every single one of them, and I wrote down, they said, hey, here's the deal. Every single one of them was open to switching, every brokerages, every single one of them was a younger agent. And they said this. They cited a couple different things. Culture. Right? The culture is no longer aligned with their values, right? Number one. Number two, a lack of a clear vision. There was no clear vision on how this nests with that and nests with this. There was no clear vision, right? On anything, on the growth of my business, on what I'm supposed to do. There was no clear vision. And then there was no new training. It was the same training month after month, year after year, which then affected them in the fact that, hey, there is no plan for me, and I'll use military terms, to crawl, walk, run my business, and for the brokerage to be able to align with me as I grow in my way. And so because of that, all 600 were like, yeah, we are open to move. It had nothing to do with compensation. It had nothing to do with splits. It had nothing to do with monthly fees. It was all around the fact that it was culture. There was no growth plan. And it was there in the box. This is how you do it method, not, hey, this is how I'm doing it. Help support me in alignment with me.
Yeah, something I want you to expand on just from your own perspective, not the article. What's the difference between principles-based people and values-based people? Because the principles-based people are the ones that own these brokerages and these teams. Generationally speaking.
Generationally.
Yeah, talking is hard today. Generationally speaking, the people who own these brokerages and these teams are principles-based more so because they're Boomer, Gen X. And yet younger millennials and Gen Y people are more values-based than they are principles-based. So when those two things clash, what's your thought on that?
Well, so when you have principle-based people that own the brokerages, right, we're looking at one thing. We're looking at black and white, right? We're looking at profit and loss. We're looking at the economics of it, the revenue of it. We're looking at the fact principle-based and, that, hey, and all brokerages are different, but let's just say that in a brokerage model where there's some type of split or compensation paid, you're worth this much to me, right? And so if you decide to leave, I can go find somebody else that's worth this much to me because that is how I pay the bill. So principle-based people that own these brokerages are looking purely at the numbers that run it. Value-based agents that are coming in now are like, yeah, that's cool, but let's talk about how it aligns with my integrity or how it aligns with how I like to work or how I show up or what I believe freedom is or my plan. Because your plan of you need to do, and I'll just go old school, like, hey, you're going to have 20 conversations a day. You're going to do this. This is exactly
we do it because that's what's supposed to be done.
This is the methodology around success based on numbers. And yet the new values, right, value-based individuals, they're looking at, great, I say this all the time, we don't have a conversion problem in real estate, we have a connection problem. Well, principle-based is all around conversion. The value-based is all around connection and values and alignment and how we make people feel. That's why me and you have said this a long time, and the younger agents are saying it. Culture is important because culture is only a word until it's felt. Principle-based, this is culture, this is what you do. Value-based, make me feel it.
Well,
That's where the heads are butting right now.
yeah, I think the other thing too to mention there that you kind of did, but you didn't really touch it totally was principles based people are like this is the way.
That way.
Values based people are pointing to 27 examples of how somebody's not doing it that way and still winning, but
Yeah.
on principle alone, based on how you built your business, you're saying no, this is the way it's done, and they're like, but wait, there's 27 people over here that did it differently, and you're
Well,
like,
look at the
that's
principle.
not the point.
Well, think about in real estate brokerages right now, and please nobody cancel Matt right now. But here's the thing, I'm brutal for a reason, right? Principle based brokerages, a lot of them have coaching and mentorship that says this. I have seen it done this way. This is the way you should do it. This book says do it this way. Value based coaches and mentors say, hey, I have seen it done multiple ways. There are a lot of different ways for you to do this. Let's figure out the way that meets you where you're at, that you're actually going to do and succeed at. And that's the biggest difference right now. Younger agents, and actually a lot of the veteran seasoned agents, they're actually looking for, hey, right? There's got to be new ways to do this. One of the jokes I always say when people ask me, what's it like coaching real estate agents? And I pause and they're like, is it like herding cats? I'm like, no, it's like herding dinosaurs, because they're so stuck in one way because that's what they were told. So principle based is, this is how it's done. This is the way I've seen it done. Here's 3 people that were successful doing it this way. Here's a book written on doing it this way. Value based is great. Hey, I've seen it done multiple ways. Let's figure out which way, based on these 15 people that have succeeded, works best for you. That's what they're looking for.
Well, I also think with the rise of social media, people who normally are very bought into the principles based brokerages are seeing for the first time on their phones these younger agents that are succeeding doing all these other things, and then out loud saying that they're not doing any of the things that that principle-based agent is being taught to do. And these people who are newer are succeeding at levels that the people who've been here for a while aren't doing. And they're like, well, then does this make sense anymore? So maybe we jump over to that. So let's talk about the agents that are seasoned, let's say 10 years, 8 to 10 years, somewhere around there, who are moving brokerages. Did that Housing Wire article, I mean, we could anecdotally talk about it, but did it say anything about them specifically?
It talked about them, the veteran agents, the seasoned agents moving, because what they're doing, and I love the way you said social media, they're seeing outside of the box for the very first time, right? Here's the thing about perspective, right? Perspective is the number one leadership blind spot. I love to say that. And so they've been in these principle-based brokerages for so long, they've only seen things one way. The only tool they have in their toolkit is a hammer. This is the way they do it, so they see everything like a nail, right? What they're starting to see now, because of social media, because there's more information out there, because it's now information, right, versus, info media, what they're seeing now is, hey, you know what? I can use a crescent wrench. There's actually a way to use the Phillips screwdriver. They're seeing things from a different perspective, which is opening their mind, which has now made them more enticed, and I'll stay with that word, more enticed.
More unsettled.
Yeah, more unsettled, feeling a little bit of friction they didn't feel before, because values, as you grow, values and stuff, you're looking for alignment as you look for that level of freedom. So they're more enticed now to actually open the door and look at other options.
Yeah, I want to make a point on something I wrote down a while ago when you were talking was, I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't get me in trouble. I think the biggest blind spot for any brokerage and individual real estate agent, but since we're mostly talking about brokerages and teams today, I'll stick with that. I think the biggest blind spot is not the singular perspective in this case. I think it is a blind spot, but I think the biggest one is that every single brokerage, with the exception of a couple, are in a full-blown, from the outside looking in, right? Seem to be in a full-blown downward spiral identity crisis.
Yeah.
It's like all of them are middle schoolers having prepubescent issues, right? Like they all don't know who they are. They don't know who they serve. They don't know what to wear. They don't know how to show up. And I think that the one thing that would help everyone, and I know that it's hard to turn the Titanic. I totally get this, that this sounds easier than it would be to do, but still, I feel like it's wildly important. If if a mom and pop brokerage shop listening to this, let's move the Goliaths out of the way and let's talk to David for a minute. If the mom and pop grocery brokerage shop, whatever, said, I want to own my spot. I don't ever want to be a big box. I don't want to sell out to a big box. I want to stay local and stay here, or even a team. This would work really well for a team too. I think they need to figure out who they're distinctly positioned to be a brokerage for, and then be the best in class at that thing. I said this for a year on calls and no one cared. Nobody listened to me. Everyone thought I was probably a little unhinged, and I was at the time. And I kept saying, if we would just admit that we are the best place for XYZ, there's no one else in that spot saying that, but we're trying to compete with being the best place for everything, and that just no longer works. That's not a thing anymore in the world. And we're teaching agents to niche or niche down.
Well, there you go. That's exactly what I was going to say.
But then brokerages aren't doing it, and teams aren't doing it. And it's like, you can't operate that way in 2026 and beyond. Like,
we teach agents all the time to identify your avatar, lean into your niche, right? You're not going to lose business when you lean into your niche. You're actually going to grow business because the people in your niche are actually going to see you. But brokerages aren't doing that. Brokerages right now, most of them, are in survivability. So they're looking for growth. And growth means every warm body out there that we can bring in, right? So we're going to just appeal to everybody. Right now, there are some brokerages that don't do that, man. They're luxury based only. They only go after this certain avatar.
No, because then but even if you, and we don't work for anybody but ourselves, so we can say this.
Yeah.
Even the ones forever, like Compass, who have been luxury based, are now
Sotheby's.
Sotheby's isn't as bad. I don't think Sotheby's isn't doing this as much. Ingalls and Volkers isn't really doing this as much. But for example, Compass, Compass is Compass in the luxury space, but then the Compass leadership umbrella is now absorbing these nobody brokerages for the agent count. And I wonder how, and obviously we're not in the back end of Compass, and although Robert Redkin, I follow him on social media and see all the shit he posts.
Oh, he's great.
He's great. Looks cool. But I wonder how the agents at Compass feel about now being in the same box as the people at the antiquated brokerages that Compass is absorbing. Same thing with the real merger with RE/MAX. It's like, if I'm a RE/MAX agent and I believe this way, or I'm a real agent and I believe this completely opposite way, how do I feel now being on the same bus going to school? I don't think they do. So I feel like I would have agreed with you if we haven't seen the mergers recently that we've seen, where even staunch tech brokerage like Real or staunch luxury brokerage like Compass are now going completely away from the identity that they created and the value stack they created for those people, and they're absorbing these other things. And I don't know how that's going to play out. I guess we'll see. And I'm not an economist, but just doesn't seem to make sense.
I think that's the other thing. And the other thing too is, if you go back to what you said earlier, like you said, literally, so if I'm an indie brokerage, or I'm an independent brokerage, or I'm out there doing the things, and I have my niche. Here's the thing: brand matters, but proof matters more. And I'm going to say that again: brand matters, but proof matters more. So agents, right? They're attracted to a brand, right? The brand gets my attention, but the proof. Right? The proof in the numbers, the leadership and the culture, that's what makes the decision on whether they stay or not. And if you look at it, that's what's happening. Brands are attracting, because of the attention, they're attracting people to them, but it's the proof that matters. The proof in the culture, the proof in the value, the proof in alignment, the proof in all those, the leadership that has them make the decision on whether they stay. And I think that's the new loyalty equation, is how do brokerages blend vision and clarity and culture and roadmap and trust together, right? And make it cohesive and aligned so that every single agent that comes in can follow their fucking blueprint, and not the plug and play, follow this book blueprint. Words are hard today.
Words are hard for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, the reason, just to put a bow on this, the reason that it matters is because if my brand identity is that I am a luxury only boutique, and we only were in our value stack is all to help people with luxury brokerages. But then you bring on brand new agents that are not luxury agents, don't have a luxury list, they don't understand luxury, they don't look luxury, they don't whatever. You're actually deteriorating yourself from the inside, and you're causing a values misalignment on both ends. Your luxury agents are now feeling out of balance because you brought in a newbie and they're sucking the time from the luxury agents. Your newbies feel like a delta between them and the luxury agent because they don't know how to be luxury, blah, blah, blah. So when you bring in people that don't fit the mold for whatever you're building, you kind of create dissonance with everybody. And I know in the big boxes this is harder to do, but I was looking something up just a second ago, and ironically found out that they also just joined Compass about 2 years ago. But there was a woman in one of my mastermind groups I was going to use this as an example, but now this is a shitty example. So I'm going to say it anyway, but now shitty example. The largest indie brokerage for a long time in Austin was a brokerage called Realty Austin. And they were very, very like, keep Austin weird, live, love Austin, 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 where the bigger boxes in Austin are national, 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 national. Yep. And they were listen to this, Matt, a 600 agent indie brokerage in Austin, Texas, because they were so vibrantly Austin and their people were weird and the marketing was strange and like all of it was very Austin based. They just joined Compass and fucked up my example. But long story short, for a long time, they were winning in that in a big way because they stayed with their brand identity.
Well, I think that's part of it too. Is if you think about the fix isn't the one size fits all. It's literally how can we be uniquely different, right? What is our career stage path? What's the roadmap to the things, right? Because when I looked at the stats again and I dove deeper into the 16%, right? I looked at the high performers that are moving, right? And the high performers that are moving, they're moving for 3 reasons according to the reports. Number 1, leadership. Leadership was number 1, right? It is the number 1 thing. It is not, in the absence of value, money fucking matters. In the absence of value, money matters. And so high producers are looking for a new level of coaching, a new level of mentorship, a new level of leadership, right? And so it was leadership, right? Which involves culture, coaching, mentorship, clear vision, new path, new blueprint, not the same thing.
Well,
that was number 1.
Real quick, I want to stay with number 1 for a second. The reason that for high performers, this is the whole cake is because they don't buy into your tools for that to be a part of their value stack. So I remember whenever the CRM rolled out back in the day when I had the biggest our team ever was, people were like, this is the best thing ever and you have to plug into this and this is going to change your business and blah, blah, blah. All I saw, because we had so much going on in our database and transaction count, was a liability to the performance of our team. And so high performers who are leaving these brokerages, leadership is all there is. Leadership and culture is all they're looking for because they provide their own stuff and they're not using your whack ass shit that you're trying to give them or sell them. That's not for those people. That's for the brand new people or the people who are in their first few years. But if all you're resting on as a brokerage owner is the value stack that's average for the rest and your leadership sucks, they're going to leave you tenfold because that's all they're there for. Is leadership, you connecting them with other people, you helping them with their business. They're not using your 27-cent tools because they already have them all. They don't need you for that.
Well, they're not looking, the other thing too is when you think about leadership, they're not looking for this crazy ass, lofty, 15-page vision and mission statement.
No.
They're just looking for direction that reflects where we're actually going.
Well, and here's the other thing I want to say, because this was such a challenge for me to be quiet about. They've outperformed you. They're not looking to you for real estate advice. They're not looking to the brokerage owners or any of that. Once you've hit elite status in your market, let's say top 5%, most of those people have outperformed you as a leader. So your production conversation is not what they're there for. No. They're looking for the actual definition of leadership, vision, steering the ship. Where's this thing going? How can I plug into it?
Well, if you look at some of the most productive real estate brokerages that are individually, owned and operated, the leadership that is leading them were never in production. They were actually leaders doing different things because like you exactly said, the biggest high producers, they're not looking for you to tell me how to get more deals or how to have more conversations. What they're looking for is, hey, man, I'm bringing new people on, but I'm stuck in the storming phase of team building. How do I use different tools to get out of the storming phase? What's my leadership role in leading this team? What do I need to do to get to that next level so we can perform? How do I maintain them there? How do I actually coach and consult and mentor my people to go to the next level? Teach me how to take my leadership bubble and grow it so that the people inside of my organization can grow. That's what they're looking for.
But none of that is offered.
Yeah, hey, let's have a conversation around the economic model. Let's have a conversation around how many listings you did. They're not looking for that. They've mastered that. What they're looking for is leadership at a new level. Show me how to grow my leadership lid so I can grow the people underneath of me. So one day I can actually step out and still get paid for my business.
Or they're looking for, how do I grow other people? They know how to grow themselves, but how do I grow other people? And all that's offered is, hey, go take a class. Well, I'm not going to pay you $25,000 a year for you to tell me to go take a class. Like, that doesn't feel good. So I would say, we talked about leadership. I want you to go to the next one, but I want to remind everyone listening that their version of what leadership needs to be is different. Back to the point of know who you are and know who you're here for. It's different than the version of leadership a new agent is looking for. A new agent is not looking for leadership. They're looking for mentorship. They're looking for training. They're looking for that kind of stuff. So it's a little different.
Yeah, the second thing they were looking for, and this can go lots of different ways, but, and they kind of surfaced over it, was risk reduction. Right? They're looking for a level of risk reduction. How do you actually reduce the risk in my business? As we are in a market that is in crazy flux right now, whether you want to say it's bipolar or the pendulum has lost its way going everywhere, like literally, how do you help me reduce risk? And reducing risk, Dina, can be all sorts of ways. Reducing risk in finances, hey, reducing risk in losing the team members I've poured into that are on my team. So they're looking for a leader, right, or a brokerage that can help them de-risk or reduce risk, mitigate it inside of their actual business.
Well, the other thing, and this is not from Housing Wire, this is just anecdotal from conversations I've had a lot lately. Today, the broker that you hire for your business and for your brokerage is probably, for high performers, the most important hire you can make. Because we're going to just use KW, for example, since we know that world the most. KW has a different structure than most other brokerages. Most brokers, the owner is the broker, is the manager, is the thing. KW,
if you go to your Century 21, your Caldwell, those things, that broker is the broker owner. They do all of those things. They recruit, they attract, they do everything.
Yeah, so at KW, it's all pulled apart, and most of the importance is put on the team leader role, which is really good for like 60% of the agents who look up to that person. But the challenge
is dependent. Right? Yeah. The brand new agent that needs the tools and the hand holding, and the interdependent agent that still needs a little bit of that, but are starting to get their own wings and jump off the branch.
Yeah, and so for the people who've built a business who are in the top performer section, like top 5% really, the broker, talking about risk reduction, becomes really important to them because they're doing enough volume that the risk of being sued is even really a lot higher. Yeah. So if they are not aligned in a brokerage model where the broker knows their salt and like understands the legalities of what's going on and can advise them, no offense to any of the way that KW is run or anything like that, but for those people, the team leader now is not the most important person. And to be honest, they really don't care. Most of them don't care. What they care about is when I get in trouble because I'm doing a high volume.
Can this broker keep me out of an orange jumpsuit? Because orange is not my color.
Yeah, 100%. And so for I don't think many brokerages have this part figured out, because even in the independents, the broker is the owner, is everything to everybody, which is still a problem. But in a high performer's mind, the reason they leave brokerages is it's actually a risk to not have a really solid broker in place. Yeah. And when we put all of our importance on an office manager or a director of operations or a team leader or whatever, we're missing the boat for that top 5%. You've got to have all of those people, yes, to run a market center specifically because they're large, but you also can't just skimp on a broker and pull whoever out of the crowd because you're losing your top performers.
It's probably the most, I think, in my experience as a team leader, the team leader CEO of a brokerage, and the operating principal owner of a brokerage, the most important hire is the broker. right? Because they are the risk reducer. Because, like you said, the high performers are looking for somebody. If they go to their broker 3 or 4 different times and they are not getting resolution in a way that works for them and is also legal, that is the first friction point. It goes back to this. I don't care how much I'm paying you. I don't care how much of a franchise fee I have. Like, I am willing to pay you as long as you can protect me and protect my agents. And the first 2 or 3 times, I feel friction. I feel like you are not reducing the risk. You are not the broker that has my back and that can guide me or educate me on something I did wrong. Man, I'm out, right? Mm-hmm. The third thing...
Because now it's just because now your company is an actual legal liability.
Well, you're hamstringing my business and the things that I'm actually going to go out there and say or do.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, move on to number 3.
Yeah, number 3, and and this one, I feel this one. Number 3 is autonomy.
Oh.
You're like, oh yeah, right? What does that mean to you? When I say...
It's on my values board.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. When I say to you, Dina, hey, what we're experiencing right now, when you look at the 46% flux and 16% of them are agents that are switching brokerages, outside of leadership, outside of risk reduction, the third reason they're leaving is autonomy. What does that make you say?
I think there's a few bunny trails here, but autonomy can mean different thing to different people. So you probably would need to know your top 5% of people. What does it mean to them? For me, it means not only that I can do what I want to do, but it means I can do it how I want it to be done. I'm not I'll sit there for a while, and I sat for a little while, and we got told how something had to get walked out or what could or couldn't happen. Or, it's like you have this idea and the ideas are encouraged, but then there's like a big fence put around the idea. It's like it can go as long as it doesn't go out of this box or out of this parameter. I don't feel like that's autonomy. I don't feel like that's entrepreneurship. It's hard whenever, well, never mind. I'll move on. I don't feel like that's entrepreneurship. Okay?
No, autonomy and entrepreneurship is the whole thing of, hey, I have this great idea. Man, we love that. But hey, if you're going to do that, make sure you play in the right way in this sandbox and play the right way in that sand. And you're like, well, that's not autonomy. Like, literally, you're telling me my idea is great, but you want me to play in all these sandboxes. Well, these sandboxes aren't the sandboxes I want to be in. I'm looking to be autonomous and play in the sandbox that I want to play in. I want to ascend my mountain, look around and say, this is the view I wanted, not get to the top and say, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah. So just as a really great example, I think recently you and I have had conversations around people who are coming to us and asking us about EXP, and they're saying, I think it's too because we're not really talking about it a lot. So people are like, what are they doing over there? They're not trying to recruit us. We're not. I mean, we want everybody to be where they want to be. But one of the biggest differences that we see with ourselves, it took us a few months to get out of this, but we're also seeing it with people coming out of KW and like asking us questions. They haven't left, so don't get your panties in a twist. No one's leaving. But the funny part is that the traditional brokerage model is that you come up with really wonderful ideas, and then we're going to tell you how you can walk them out. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get involved because we want ownership in your really cool idea, because we also think it's really cool. And we want it to be stamped with our logo.
Yeah.
Here's where it's different in an autonomous brokerage is, hey, that's a cool idea. Nice talk. Let me know if you need something.
Yeah, go handle it.
Go handle it. And so my version of autonomy used to be, I have a really cool idea. I'm going to share it with somebody, and then I'm going to turn it into a program. And I did this for years. I mean, I think I ran about 4,000 people through my social media coaching program, and I didn't own any of it. I had the idea. I came up with the curriculum. I walked it out. I did a lot of the marketing for it. I showed up and taught it. But it was owned by somebody else because my idea was a good idea, but it was a good idea within this umbrella. Now we move over here into a brokerage, and there are more than just EXP that's this way, but EXP I think is the most autonomous, most entrepreneurial friendly, because we've told some pretty high up people some stuff we wanted to do, and they're like, cool talk. Let me know what you need. I can connect you to whoever. Have a nice day.
Yeah, how can I support you? Go out there, and if you fall down, let me know. I'll help pick you up and go run some more.
That's my definition of autonomy. So I think that, Matt, to get out of that tangent is, what does it mean to me? It means that I'm going to have the idea. I'm going to own the success or the failure and the walkout and the win. When it wins, I'm going to own the win because I had this idea. If it loses, I'm going to also own my failure. But no matter what, autonomy to me means I can do it with who I want, wherever I want, however I want, as good or loud, as small or big as I want, without any other influence. So
Well, I
that's
think
what
the highest producers, and I'll go a little bit different. When the highest producers in whatever the real estate company, whatever the real estate brokerage is, it doesn't matter. In all industries, when they think about autonomy, they're like, okay, here's the deal. I've gotten to this level. I've gotten to this level this way, and I want to do things this way. I'm at the point now where I'm going to start running my business my way in the way that aligns with me. But what happens in a lot of brokerages is when that high producer, whether they own a team, they're individual or small group, whatever they are, when they're like, hey, I'm going to start doing it this way, what happens is they get told, that's not the way we do it here. That's not the way it's been done before. That's a crazy idea. Why would you do that? For example, there's an agent that I used to coach that decided that, hey, you know what, like I'm going to break the team structure. Like, I'm going to break the team structure, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create an associate's level, a bachelor's level, and a master's level in my team. And so when you join my team, you're going to go through, buyer's mastery and listing mastery. Year 1 is buyer's mastery. Year 2 is listing mastery. Man, you've got your associate's degree from me, man. If you want to leave, man, let's go, man. I'm so proud of you. Like, I want you to go out there and leave the team and fly on your own and be my billboard. But if you want to stay, no issue, we're going to go in bachelor's level, which is, hey, now I'm going to teach you, right, how to actually use leverage, to use a TC, to use an admin. Oh, by the way, that's year 3. Year 4, I'm going to teach you now how to use or how to educate or coach, mentor other people, other buyers, other sellers. And oh, by the way, in 4 years, fly away, go out there, leave the nest. But if you want to stay, here's the master's program because I'm going to show you now how to run these people underneath of you and run a team. Mm-hmm. Everybody said, that's dumb, that's insane, why would you do that? People are going to leave you. But he decided to break the mold, and for him, that's a different level of autonomy where people, that's not the way we do it here. That's not the way a team is run. They're looking for support around their ideas and how they want to run their business. Old school, this is the box, this is the book, this is what you follow, does not that they don't allow it, they don't encourage it, and they discourage it without discouraging about that's not the way it does here. It's never seen that done.
I don't know that, it's funny though, looking back on any of those things, I don't necessarily believe that any of it's done from a bad place.
I don't think it's not. No, it's not.
I don't even know if they're aware that they're even doing it. Like, on this side of the fence now, something that I want to say, not just to clean this up, but truly, I'm not sure that people know their windows are fogged until they're cleared.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't want to have to edit too much out of this.
Well, here's the thing. I think that you're on the right path.
I don't think they know.
They're not aware that their window is fogged until it's clear, because it's not that. I'll give you this example. I'll spin it back, right? This is the Moving the Military podcast, right? Me and you talk all the time about our military real estate agents. Couple different facts. Number 1, they launch their careers faster than anybody because they're used to structure and schedules and all that. We know that. But number 2, the traditional real estate model of teaching, and I'm going to use the word civilians how to do real estate, does not work in the military world. A small 25% of it does, but man, timelines are crunched. You don't have 10 to 15 years to build a relationship. You're literally building that relationship in 18 to 36 months, right? So there's things that are different. And so when military real estate agents go into a traditional brokerage and that brokerage doesn't have people that are in the military world or were in the military world experience, they get taught a civilian in the box style of real estate that does not work for their avatar if they want to be in the military niche. And that's the same thing. Until they're taught it, they don't see the difference.
Well, also, I don't think that, the stat was 16% of people leave. But the opposite of that means that 74% or 84% of people, math is hard too, so 84% of people actually chose to stay. Mm-hmm. So instead of focusing on, I'll put a bow on this and we'll move on because this podcast is going a little long today. I think no matter what, 16% of people leaving is a staggering number. It really is. It's a lot of loss for every brokerage. But I wonder at what point does the focus that most of them have on the loss actually cause the people who chose to stay to feel undervalued or not valued?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, real quick, let me finish this up. So if 84% of your people, let's flip this to the positive side. This past year, Matt, you and I were in the 16%. After, for you, 5-6 years, for me, 15. So I was the 84% for so many years. And instead of these brokerages, all of them, every last one of you, I want to strangle all of you. Instead of the leaders of these brokerages focusing on the 84% of people who cast the vote to stay and providing value for them, they turn away and turn their back to those people and focus on the 16% of us that left this year. And that just, when you flip the tables, that's just crazy to me. Like, you're ignoring 84% of your constituents to focus on the 16% that said they wanted something else. Who cares?
Well, I'll say it this way, right?
Who cares?
If you're a leader and you're watching this, or if you're an individual agent watching this, send this shit to your leader right here, this clip. Here's the deal. I want you to focus on
49 minutes. At 49 minutes, clip this out and send it to somebody.
That's it. I'm going to send you I'm going to tell you the most important thing right now. Here's the thing. You're focusing on the wrong R. I'm just going to say it. You're focusing on the wrong R. You're focusing on recruiting. Okay? Stop focusing on recruiting, right? Start focusing on retention. If you actually spent the time and re-retained your agents every single quarter, not once, if you focused on retention and said, hey, like Dina said, 16% are leaving, you got 84% that are there, that 84% includes 15% that's new agents coming in. If you actually focused on retention and you retained the agents you had, and not once a year, every single quarter, you re-recruited them, right? You retained them, the agents. Here's what would happen. Number one, production would go up. Number two, culture would grow up. Number three, because you retain them, they would give you other names because now you're attracting talent. Yeah. Stop recruiting a talent. You want to attract talent, you retain the people you have. Here's my piece of advice to you. If you're watching this, send it to your fucking leader now. Here's the deal. Take your leadership hat off. Take your loyalty hat off. Walk into your brokerage as not the leader, as not someone that's loyal to it, and put the perspective on, if I was a brand new agent, would I join this place today? If the answer is yes, what are the things that gave you a yes that you can do more of? If the answer is no, stop right there and fix the things that are a no, and then have conversations with your agents. Stop focusing on recruiting. Start focusing on retention. Retention leads to attraction. Attraction, I say it all the time. It goes to this: culture, right, leads to growth. Growth leads to productivity. I mean, all those different things, right? So focus on retention. 84% are there for a reason. Man, capitalize on that. Align your culture, your leadership, your values, your systems, your tools, autonomy, right? Risk reduction. Align those things. Retain those people, and you will never have a production problem. You will never have a profit problem. You will never have an attraction problem. But here's the thing. You're focusing on the 16% instead of the 84%. If you change that mindset, your entire business would be done.
Yeah, I think it comes down to two things, and then we'll wrap this up for today. It's value, but value from two standpoints. Does the person, the human being, feel valued as a person, but also as a part of the whole, because that then leads to values. Do you know the values of your top agents, of your middle people, of the younger people? Is there a process for that? And if people feel like there's a value drift, meaning they're paying more than they're getting, or that they don't feel valued as a person, like we hear a lot about how people aren't even consulted in some decisions they're supposed to be a part of, right? That does not allow people to feel valued by you. So if people feel valued by you and they feel like the value you offer for what they're giving you are a match, they stay. It's as simple as that. If those two things are off, they leave. But let's not focus on the ones who left. Let's focus on keeping the values match on both sides with the people who decided to stay. And
I'll give you the mathematical equation right here, and I'll close it out with this. It's simple, Dina. Culture, right? Culture attracts and retains talent. Talent leads to production. Production leads to profit. Profit leads to growth and opportunity. It's that simple. Culture attracts and retains talent. Talent leads to production. Production leads to growth and opportunity. That is how simple it is. right? You want to master this, man, focus on retention.
Yep. All right. With that, we're going to get out of here. Send the last 10 minutes to somebody you care about, and we'll see you on the next one.